Hello Pisces, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs. Welcome to your tarot reading here at the Intuitive Teacup. Happy to have you all out there. Please come into this reading with an open heart and an open mind, a desire to maybe learn something and better yourself, better your situation. Take away only what resonates for you and release the rest. This is a general reading, of course. Trust your own intuition above all else because you are accountable and responsible for all your own actions and decisions. You know this, right? You know the drill. So we're going to go ahead and set the intention to get my Pisces gang some clear, helpful, insightful messages for wherever they are at on their spiritual path. All right. We're going to start with a couple oracle cards, and then we are going to hop into your reading. All right, for Pisces, animal medicine card from Kim Kranz. You get two, we'll take it. Ooh, interesting. Look at them facing each other, looking them dead in the eye. It's like a stare down. I don't know if this has to do with your competition or having like what could be a really intense connection with someone. I don't know if it's hostile or like aggressive, or if it's more of like with the vulture, it's like Scorpio, very deep felt emotions, almost like a psychic connection. The crow and the vulture, that's very interesting. So we're going to read about those. But yeah, that clearly has to do with two people and partnership. It could also have to do with spirit guides and angels, particularly for those who see birds and animal spirit guides a lot as sort of messengers of confirmation on your path. All right, so we're going to start with this oracle card. Break the habit of thinking the solution to your problems is to rearrange things outside. The only permanent solution to your problems is to go inside and let go of the part of you that seems to have so many problems with reality. Very interesting. So this deck is from, it's based on a book, which I'm sure a lot of you have heard of. It's called The Untethered Soul. I think Michael Singer is the author, but you may have to fact check me on that. It's a really short book, but it's really tremendous in terms of just thinking about sort of how we self-sabotage ourselves or talk ourselves out of opportunity or lose ourselves in the process of deep felt emotions or lots of thoughts. Highly recommend reading that. So these are just little quotes from that book, but I do think I think they're meaningful, so I wanted to share them. So your love oracle card says deception, false illusions, scarcity mentality, falling into bad habits. The first thing I get from that is jumping the gun on taking something as fact versus fiction. I don't know, sometimes I think deception can be a heavy loaded term. For some of you, it just had to do with misinterpretation. If this is romantic, what's the vibe between these two? The crow is very like spiritual to me. Crow and the vulture. This could indicate someone coming back from your past too. The vulture is very much tied to sort of rebirth and regeneration, like picking the bones clean, sort of taking care of like the environment, the ecosystem. But it has to do with that like Scorpio stuff, is like going to the depths. And I'm hearing the death of something in order to be reborn. I don't know why I'm getting this. It's like burying something in the ground so that it can come up in a new way, maybe in spring, like breathing new life into something, into some sort of connection. Yeah, these cards aren't talking. I can just tell. So we're going to read about these. I'm almost getting this idea too that this person had like dark energy around them. And I'm not sure that I don't do fear-based readings. That's not what this is about. You're coming through as the crow for most of you anyway. There could have been, this person could have been very mystical and very involved with like spirituality and other forces. Maybe this is a person who can communicate with the dead. Like it could be something very deep and very heavy like that. But there was something about their energy that it needed to go through purification or a cleansing process. They had to rid themselves of either toxic behavior or some sort of baggage. Or if, I'm not saying it has to be a Scorpio, but that it comes through very strongly with Scorpio-like energy, where there could have been some sort of resentment being held about you or about this connection because something didn't work out, but I'm not sure they were seeing it with clear eyes. There was something clouded about their vision because of some external things going on in their life that was tainting their vision or interfering with the facts and the truth. I hope that makes sense for some of you. All right, let's go to our birds, our air friends. Vulture. So the guardian and the purifier, essential for rebalance. The vulture is perhaps the most misunderstood creature of all. This intriguing bird balances our ecosystem and prevents the spread of disease. It does the dirty work that no one else wants to do and cleans up our messes. The vulture appears when there's a situation that needs to be purified or brought back into balance. Remember, the vulture is greatly undervalued. What you thought was a mistake or a tragedy is a blessing in disguise. When in balance, this card means clarifying and revealing wisdom. When out of balance, it can be dramatic or aggressive. To bring it into balance, clean your space and use sage. And let's see what's up with the crow. They're right next to each other. Even that feels very symbolic. And I like that these two are looking at each other. They are addressing each other. If it was like this, I was like, you guys are fighting and not getting back together or not reconciling or bringing something into balance. There's something very stubborn when the cards don't look at each other, but they're coming up next to each other. Here, I kind of like it. I kind of like it. So the crow means spiritually strong, creative, and watchful. The crow has long been a symbol of magic. A crow personality is drawn to the supernatural and has a gift for seeing the unseen, knowing the unknown. It is said that the crow holds within its mind the three realities, past, present, and future. The crow energy is potent and should only be tapped into when the mind is clear. Those with crow tendencies must balance their lives with healthy diet, joyful friends, and regular self-study. When in balance, this card means psychic, strong, and clear. When out of balance, it's undergrounded and hypersensitive. Bring it into balance with daily meditation and practice. Yeah, so when out of balance, it's something about, being hypersensitive or dramatic here. And then, I don't know, there's something sort of like jealousy or needing to bite back, or I don't even think it's being vocalized, but having these kind of feelings about the situation and feeling kind of, there's a word I'm looking for, give me a minute. Almost like up on your high horse, like a wounded ego, and so assuming the worst about a scenario, taking things very personally. Yeah, this doesn't have to be romantic, guys, but I almost think one, if not both of you, maybe have assumed worst case scenario about the other person and that they had ulterior motives the whole time. And, again, this like fantastical, it's like your brain running away with some sort of false narrative based on an emotion that it wasn't pleasant. It was, it hurt you a little bit. It was a little bit painful. I would try and ground yourself, and I do think this is going to come back into balance, but I also think something needs to be addressed that got miscommunicated before. There's a card of reciprocity coming back into balance. All right, so this is going to sort of guide our reading. I also think this is telling, too, that the solution to our problems has nothing to do with rearranging what's external to us. Meaning, how this person acts is not necessarily indicative of our truth, and vice versa. With that, it's like, I think we need to be very aware and responsible for how we respond to what's going on, because that's something we can control. We can't control what's external to us. And I think there might be a need for both people to be very humble and again, put ego aside, admit fault easily. But also there's something about forgiveness here, being able to forgive easily and move on and not hold a grudge. That's particularly important if you want this to come back together, whatever it is. And I mean, just for peace of mind, for the sake of having it easier, it's whatever this connection is. Maybe it's coworkers. It's like you kind of want to get back on the same page a little bit so that you can work together and not be like white knuckling it and almost like that uncomfortable energy in the room. That's what I'm getting. Like it's uncomfortable to be in that energy because something is not being addressed here. Or for some of you might not be in communication. If this is romantic, there could have been a breakup or a pause or I don't know, like just kind of like a period of silence here. Yeah, seeing things from a different perspective. An offer comes to break bread, to a peace offering of sorts, getting things back to reality. Let's get grounded, and then let's extend our hand. Let's extend some sort of offer. Yeah, that's going to restore happiness. And like, can't we all just get along? That feels very like 10 of Cups to me here. there's such a focus with these two cards on like the mystic and the supernatural. And like, of course, we're in a Pisces reading, so that doesn't totally surprise me, but you're dealing with someone who's like that as well. I understand why this connection at one point in time was probably strong, because you do have a lot of similarities, but you both may be stuck or hell-bent or committed to a certain perspective that very much agitates or opposes one of this person's very strongly held beliefs or how they operate in the world or in relationships. And so there was that trigger point. There was that one thing or that one topic where you just didn't see eye to eye, and it sort of like spilled over from there. It started to impact other areas of your life, or it just got out of, I'm hearing out of sync, but that's not what I was going to say. It got out of control. It escalated very quickly. I like that term. I like that term a lot. It always makes me think of Anchorman when they're having like the knife fight with the alternative news crew. Have you guys seen that movie? It's just, I don't know. It's funny. I always hear Ron Burgundy saying, well, that escalated quickly. Okay, so the reason I only mention that too, sometimes Spirit will do that because it's like they want me to relay the fact that like we're going to be able to laugh about this later. I don't mean to minimize what you're going through now as a Pisces. I know you feel things very deeply, and this has been something that has been turbulent in your life. It's really thrown you off balance. It's thrown you out of whack, and obviously you're trying to get yourself back to a good place. So do know, whatever happens with this character, it is up to you to get back into balance, right? To find your center, to ground yourself, and then, to rise up again and live your life, essentially. I don't think we're done with this. I think something beautiful will actually come from this. It's going to yield good results. But Spirit to me is saying, I think, have faith, because there is an element of humor about this, particularly about the miscommunication that happens. I think you guys, in time, with the Hangman, give it time, I think you guys are going to be able to look back and laugh or understand sort of the absurdity of the miscommunication, or there's going to be something if this is romantic, it's almost like an inside joke of sorts, or it's like that thing that you guys talk about that you drive the other person nuts with that habit, and vice versa. There's something about you guys when you come together, it nags the other person's sense of whatever. It's like there's so many things that bring you guys together and harmonize and balance, and then there's one or two things where it's just like you don't see eye to eye, and it becomes sort of a reason to laugh at how different you guys are. But I think when you come together, there is something beautiful. And I mean, you don't want to be with someone who's exactly the same as you, right? That's boring, but also it doesn't force you to grow. It doesn't force you to be self-aware. So there's beauty in the differences that you guys bring to the table, and with that there needs to be some acceptance, there needs to be some allowance, there needs to be some humility, and also some generosity. This is a relationship where you absolutely need to be a good advocate for yourself, but you also need to be a good listener. You need to actively listen to what this person is saying. It's funny, I gave that message to someone else. It may have been Leo, where there's a need to come together and have a very serious conversation about something. And with that, it's not just waiting for your turn to speak again. It's not like, okay, now I have to pass the mic and they're going to do their thing, and then I get to comment back on what they said. It's not about commenting back. It's about actively listening to what the other person's problems or concerns or issues are. And as a form of politeness, as a form of compassion, I think we underestimate the power of being like, okay, let me just repeat that back to you to make sure I understood what you were saying. And not in a condescending way, in an actual way of, I'm really trying to understand you, and I want to make sure that I'm not getting it twisted, or that I'm not confused by what you just said. So let me, you have to say, let me repeat it back. But ultimately, it's like repeating back what they said to make sure that there's absolute clarity on the exchange happening here. And I think it's going to bring this person peace of mind, because they're going to know that you did actively listen. Like they're going to get confirmation of their own words. And what's interesting is sometimes when we hear our own words spoken back to us, we start to see how, maybe that doesn't sound the way I intended it to. Maybe that came off as rude or condescending or haughty or impatient or angry, when really it was just, I was stressed. And I was just trying to clarify, excuse me, my throat chakra, interesting. It's like I was stressed, and in the moment I was trying to clarify this just to get something done quickly and efficiently, but really it came off as aggressive and condescending. And you understand what I mean? There's something valuable of hearing your words played back to you from another source, from another person. Some of you may seek guidance from a friend and sort of reiterate what transpired with this other person. And when your friend comes to give you counsel or advice or guidance, you're going to be like, maybe I did kind of participate in that in a way that wasn't as healthy. Or again, my words may have been confusing to them. And like, I think you're going to see where you stoked the fire. And I mean that in a way of like the fire that was brought to an explosion essentially, or whatever this was. I think you're going to see with more clarity how you may have accidentally participated in that. And that's cool, bro. Like, we all make mistakes. Owning it is powerful. Owning your mistakes, admitting to fault. We're all only human. So hopefully if you show this person that, generosity and compassion, I think it's going to be mirrored right back to you, because you guys do mirror each other a lot. And okay, now that I'm thinking about it, Scorpio's reading this week was all about this energy of mirroring the other person back, but they just couldn't get on the same page. There was a lot of Eight of Swords as everybody's all stuck up in their head. They're in this mental prison and don't know how to move forward, but neither person was communicating what was actually going on or what they were feeling. And I'm not saying that won't be fixed if you're dealing with a Scorpio. You may be the initiator of this, Pisces, though, if you are dealing with a Scorpio, because Scorpio's like, how does it end? What is the outcome? It was very Eight of Swords. It's like, oof, we're just going to stay stuck in this for another week until somebody breaks the silence or breaks the ice. That being said, this seems more hopeful and more optimistic, but maybe there's a necessary breakup. Maybe there's a necessary period of wait. The Hangman makes the 4, the upside down 4, because 4s represent gaining back our stability, being able to rest and detach ourselves from sort of the intensity of the energy that went down, so that we have the space to get a clearer understanding of the storyline and what went down. Hangman energy, that is you, Pisces. There is something about having to sacrifice here too. Having to sacrifice maybe the ego or sacrifice sort of being right, which typically is not a Pisces thing. That may have to do with whoever is involved here. But that being said, I think you're going to gain clarity on it. I think you're going to have a different perspective on it individually. And then one or both of you is going to want to bring some sort of offer to the table to address the situation and bring peace and balance and harmony back to it. Really, that's what I see here. Yeah, this is about knowing what's worth fighting for. If this is a connection that you love, if this is a connection of friendship that you very much value, if this is a coworker that you know you're going to have to work with on the regular, I can't see a reason why you wouldn't want to put effort and energy into bringing this back into something healthy, something strong. Sometimes this for me is a card fighting for what you love, fighting for your passions. Sometimes we lose our footing. Sometimes we slip a little, right? The 7 of Wands man, he has 2 different shoes on and he's hiking up a mountain like that. That's not always, excuse me, that's not always advantageous. And yet he's there, he's going to stick it out. He's going to do it. And he'll probably learn something in the process too. And I think sometimes people are brought into our lives to impact us and make us grow and make us be kind of self-reflexive and see, areas of our life that we want to change and how we want to change ourselves internally to be the best version of ourselves. Changing for us, not for another person, but ultimately sometimes that is initiated. Your other people are the catalyst to that important transformation and change going on in our life. And whether you're with a Scorpio or not, maybe you have strong Scorpio in your chart, this idea of transformation, radical transformation, that it's not necessarily easy, but I think it's worth the fight and the struggle and the effort and the endurance and the tenacity, all those words. It's worth it if we're getting an Ace of Pentacles with a 10 of Cups. It's definitely worth it. All right, Pisces, that's what I got for you this week. Please remember to like the video, show me some love, leave a positive comment, subscribe to the channel. Do hit the notification bell if you want to be alerted when I post readings in the future. If you want more content from me, I'm on Instagram and Facebook. And what else? What else do I do to say? I do a select amount of personal readings. That's it. Personal readings. If you want a personal reading, I do a select amount of them a month, so feel free to reach out to me via email. We can try and get you a session booked that would be catered more to your inquiries, your energy, etc. And that's about it. Yeah. So thanks for joining me today, Pisces. Sending you all the best. Hopefully eclipse season goes well for you, goes swimmingly for Pisces. I'll see you soon for more tarot. Bye, guys.